As David Cameron makes his case for bombing, Mirror writers weigh up the question of what Britain should do to deal with the threat of Islamic State. Yes, Alison Phillips. No one wants to go to war. But IS have brought the war to us. They have killed Britons on their sunbeds in Tunisia, murdered Friday night revelers in Paris, slaughtered sun-tanned holidaymakers on their flight home to Russia. All these people are us. Because if our security services weren't so good, ISIS would have killed thousands on the streets of Britain already this year. They are hoping they get lucky any day soon. So airstrikes on Syria cannot increase the risk to us. We are already at terrible risk. What a gutless argument that is anyway. Have we become a nation that ignores WONG-doing until it's on our own front step? Britain is way better than that. How can we let the French and Russians do all the work against ISIS? Particularly when we have weaponry that not even the Americans have in the air. Good job we didn't take that approach in the last World War. Of course we need to be working towards a negotiated solution in Syria with the region's powers and our European cousins. And we can and must do both. But how can we have any meaningful role in those conversations if we are not prepared to get our hands dirty? Not to mention the idiocy of the argument that it's okay to strike ISIS over Iraq but impossible a couple of kilometers to the south in Syria. IS are a terrifying and evil force. But they are not invincible. In fact, they have recently suffered serious defeats in Iraq. A united force can wipe them from the face of the map. Then the work begins to build a stable region. Airstrikes are not an easy decision. But if we do not take it, we may spend many terrifying and bloody years regretting it. No, Kevin Maguire. If the Start the War coalition headed by David Cameron bombs Syria, it will not destroy the Islamic State, but it will make Britain a bigger target. The knee-jerk brigade straining to drop explosives on Raqqa, a heavily populated city the size of Barnsley or Milton Keynes, would add to the terror without eradicating a death cult. And let's be honest, a few hundred British missiles would make no military difference when 29,000 United States bombs didn't prevent mass murder in Paris. I spent 2 hours listening to Cameron answer questions in the Commons and I read his 30-page report. He has no clear strategy to destroy IS or guarantee a better future for Syria. 2 years ago Cameron and allies would have deployed the RAF as an Islamist air force if we hadn't stopped them targeting Bashar al-Assad's regime in Damascus. They have retrained bomb sites onto the Islamists, Assad's enemy, but they remain utterly clueless. Intensifying a bloody conflict isn't the road to peace. IS thrives on crusaders, as they demonize former colonial powers returning to blast parts of the Middle East, and we would stumble into a trap by going to war. Cameron's strikes on Libya to topple Colonel Gaddafi created a failed state swarming with jihadists. Iraq was a terrible error in 2003 and a midwife of IS. Cameron was an enthusiastic supporter of Blair's war. Afghanistan was a bloody failure too. Labour is tearing itself apart, but blundering into Syria's civil war would be Britain shooting itself in the head.